kind of formed to kind of help run? Do they have their own funding as well, or are they using our funding? Because some of these are addressed to the Redevelopment Authority, we're the Redevelopment Commission.
I don't believe so. Gary, can you confirm that? The Redevelopment Authority doesn't really have any funding source currently. They basically, they were set up when we did the larger bond that used the streets as collateral, and that was an entity that you needed to do that process. But I don't believe they have any other outside funding.
I see Dan when I get my haircut.
Right, well, just some of these invoices were addressed or talking about the Redevelopment Authority, not the Redevelopment Commission, so just want to make sure who's.
We pay all the bills.
I understand
even if it says their
Right.
name, we are the ones that generally get to pay, so.
Well, I don't want them voting on our money either.
Yeah, sure, fair enough.
If you mind handing me one of those.
All right, well, I've got 7:31, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'll start with a roll call. Do I just do Redevelopment Commission members, Gary? Is it just okay? And call the folks who aren't here so they can be marked as absent? Okay. All right, we'll start with Rich Griswold.
Present on the phone.
He's present on the phone here. Paul Lauk.
Present.
Dare Grant, present. Al Myers, absent. And Phil Deckard.
Present.
All right, we do have a quorum. We'll go ahead and start with the minutes from last month. Everyone's had a chance to look those over. Do we have any corrections or additions to those minutes? If not, I'd ask that I get a motion to approve them.
So move.
Thank you, Phil. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Paul. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Claims. We've got quite a few claims here to take a look at. Gary, do you have anything in particular you want to mention about these claims?
No.
I say, as you can see, most of them, kind of a mix, some of them for the parking lot there at Wayne, some of them for the theater. All of them are coming out of TIF revenue, and you've got copies of those invoices. Any discussion before we ask for approval?
We're still open on the theater, we're not closed on that, so this is just like a drop-out payment.
Okay, thank you, Gary. If we don't have any questions, I'd ask for a motion to approve the claims as written. I don't believe so. I think a couple are just still looking at the invoices a bit, so I'm going to give them a moment.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Paul. Do I have a second?
It's like, I do have a question or a concern. I know that there's an invoice here for Carrie Palma, which I know is going to be the director of the theater. I don't remember that we had previously specifically said we would pay for that cost as far as personnel at the theater. I know we were going to pay the hard costs and all those other costs. I just want to make sure that that was a cost. It's a straight 5,000, looks like someone said that we agreed that we would pay that much. I don't specifically remember saying that we were going to pay for the personnel at the theater. I just want to make sure that we're not voting or accepting something that had previously not been agreed to.
Carrie, do you have any insight onto that $5,000 payment?
Yeah, the mayor and Ben had set apart $300,000, I believe it was, in next year's budget, and there was a partial in this year's budget to pay. This is the first shipment. This is Carrie Palmer we're talking about. She's been working on this all summer long, and finally says, I need something from this, so that's what this is. But we've encouraged her to retire from teaching, because this is pretty much a full-time job. And she says, I can't do it quite this year. She's age-wise, seniority-wise, she's able to do so. The school system needs her. She's been spread between Smith and Green Township this year. She's having to do double duty, so they've got some staff, and so that's what they're doing. And yes, we will see others on here, because once we get a sound video technician who know how to run all the boards and stuff, we'll have something expense coming through for that too.
And
So was that part of the original agreement with the RDC? I know we agreed to buy the theater and all of those things, but did we agree to pay the cost for running it, so to speak? I thought that the city was.
I can't truly answer you to that, Joe, because the expectations are that they've got money coming in. They're starting their fundraising project, and they'll pay it out of that. So my guess is this is just a shortfall for this.
Right, so, but I guess the underlying question then is paying this exceeding what we had previously agreed to do? Because I don't want us to essentially just become, well, you've got some extra money, you paid for parts, so will you pay for the rest? I want to make sure that the RDC.
I think yours is a perfectly valid question, because at a redevelopment commission, you don't have operational costs.
Right,
you said the city does have some set aside in next year's budget to cover some of these type of things.
Dan and Kenny, and see how the arrangement's going to be.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question. From my council members, I understand there was a $26,000 change order from Wallace on the parking lot. They were questioning me as to why that was billed to the city and not the RDC.
Again, that's a very valid question. You saw when Ann asked that question Monday night, I didn't answer it. Mac gave an answer that he wasn't sure. He'd have to check with Ben. But I'm in agreement with you. I don't know why that was a city expense and not an RDC expense.
Right.
but the Wayne and Morgan parking lot, just
Yes.
down the road.
Yeah.
And that is not reflected here in our claims today,
It's all
correct?
part of the same project. You should know, I was there last night after the rain, just to check it. And we didn't have any problems any place. They did a really good job of it, yeah.
So just to confirm, that 26,000 is not in our claims here. Currently, it's been billed to the city. Phil, is that correct?
It's my understanding that was what had taken place.
Yes, it was paid for by the city Monday night. Yeah.
Okay.
So is the city going to, as a city council member, is the city going to ask the RDC to reimburse that since that was an RDC project?
I don't know.
And that perhaps it was just billed to the wrong place and paid accidentally, so to speak?
Sounds like somebody's investigating it, Gary, so we're going to hopefully find out some more info.
Yeah,
Okay.
I follow.
I do have a motion to approve the claims from Paul. I'm going to ask again, do we have a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, Phil. All those in favor of approving the claims, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go to our fund reports. You've got a copy of those here, the bond fund and the general TIF fund. Looks like we had the semi-annual revenue come in for the TIF fund. Anything on here, Gary, that is unusual that you'd like to point out? I think everything looks pretty normal to me. And then we've also got the larger 2021 bond recap. Looks like that's almost closed out, Gary, if I remember correctly. Sounds like the levy is the last of the projects for that, correct? Joe, do you have anything for us?
I've been trying to follow along with going back to that parking lot there, Wayne and Morgan. I've been talking to Dale Coffey, the city attorney, and as soon as we're able to confirm that that is all complete and everything's done, which I was gonna ask Gary about. Sounds like, when I talked to Dale a week or two ago, he said they wanted to put some type of finishing top coat or something like that on it.
It's all finished now.
So if it's all finished now, then,
Lights working and everything, that's done.
then I would ask, that the commission approve as previously planned and anticipated, me working on the paperwork to deed that parking lot into city control and out of our hands.
Do we need a motion to approve that? I think we've already approved that, basically, and you just want to make sure you're.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the original plan, so
Sure.
I just say it's just to make sure that we are at that stage, so I'm gonna work with City Attorney Dale Coffey to get that on the city council agenda to formally, essentially quit claiming from the RDC into the city of Martinsville.
Anybody have any concerns with Joe starting that process?
That's what we discussed.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking, Joe.
Nothing else from my end then?
Gary?
Wrapping things up, rapidly, yes. We turned on the power to the north levee, Monday of this week, I believe it was. And so we'll be checking that one out. The key now is our application back to FEMA to have those levees certified again and get our residents off the requirement for federal flood insurance. It's costing money. The sooner they can get it done. Congressman Baird is working with us on trying to accelerate that process. One of his aides was in a couple of weeks ago, and I responded to him just yesterday. Here's where we are in the process. So we currently exist under a conditional CLOMR, and we want to get the C off the LOMR and get it certified levies for that. For the south levee, physically we're done there. We've got a couple of change orders we're still working through there. Biggest issue now, we've got grass growing on most of it, but not all of it. There's some spots there that just didn't come in for one reason or another. Whether this happened to be a dry week or it was dry, whatever, who knows. Anyway, they got some grass to put back in. And we're changing our tune. We built a small building down off of Canvas Court. That's where our road is going to come in. We had a construction road off of Robin Road. We closed that out, took that stone, moved it on further down, and coming off the end of Canvas Court there. But it turned out that we didn't own the end of Canvas Court. The house on the north side of the street owned his half of the road, and the house on the south side of the street owned her half of the road. So that's not right. That was an old mistake that was there. So we bought from the Stanger property, the north half of the road, and the easement down through there. So down that road at about 100 yards, and we built a building that stores the closure aluminum panels that happen at the railroad. The levee on either side of the railroad is about 4 foot higher than the railroad. So we have aluminum closure panels that go in there, and it's a process. The fire department has to, Luke did a video for us, but it shows how we close that up. They'll have to do that and have to practice it every year, because who knows when you're going to need it. We are alerted by the USGS, the weather station at the Blue Bluff Bridge at White River. So we know when our timing is to get something done. It can come down faster than you think, but you've got several hours in there to get that closed up. So what we're changing now, we've been coming to the railroad. It's called Branch Lane. It's where the Coal Alliance dealership is there, just off of 39, the gas company. That's called Branch Lane. It goes back to the levee, and then we have a road that goes from there to the railroad. It's got a real low spot in it that we're not able to really do something with. If the cornfield is flooded and water's trying to get to the river, it can't get there because of the levee unless it goes through our flapper gates. Well, flapper gates, when the water's up on the levee in the river, flapper gates are closed. So suddenly we built a dam there and didn't have any place to take the water. So we're going to, rather than fight that condition, because your expectation would be is that if the water's coming up on the levee, you probably had a considerable amount of rain. And if you got a low spot, that's where you're going to be flooded out or maybe sinking in the mud. So we're going to bring our access to the railroad from from the south end to the south levee. So we'll come down Candace Court, go over the pump house, and go from there to the railroad enclosure. So that's an extra that we haven't approved at this point. We're still working on that, coming forward. So that one's wrapping up. We did wrap up the North Main Street Sewer Project. That one's closed now. We're waiting on the city's got street departments up there, so they're gonna make their connection to the sewer and intend to do that themselves. So that one's closed, Hacker's closed. We have money left in the downtown part of the 21 bond, and a big chunk of that is what's gonna go towards the final payment of the theater. We're making a cash payment to buy the theater, so there'll be no debt incurred with it. So we'll just have to have operational costs we talked about a few minutes ago for personnel, so that's what we've got to recover right now. So, yeah, you're welcome if you'd like, we'll go over to the theater after this, and I can give you a tour around, show where it's good. We got the big screen in there on Monday. If it'd been 6 inches longer, we would have not gotten it into the building period. We had to take it out of the box, and then it just barely cleared out of the box by about 3 inches, because what happens when you're taking something big in, you gotta be able to turn a corner, and that's where they were locked out from. So it's in, and yesterday afternoon, and I went by there on my way home, 4:30, technicians were still there, and it's operational now, so it'll go up and down, so that's ready to go. It's a big screen, it goes almost all the way across. They're doing wiring now on the video and sound systems. At the back of the theater, you'll see, they have a booth that's that, it's got a counter goes the full width of the building, and so they have each of the boards for, there'll be a lighting board, there'll be a video board, there'll be a sound board, it's all beyond me. I don't know how to run any of that stuff, but that's what will happen back through there. I should report to you that the Hannah Farms Arbor Homes project is there. They've sold 70 houses already in there, 70 houses. So I reached out to Susie yesterday. I said, I lived in homeowners associations, subdivisions before. They had a welcoming committee. They had a packet. We got 70 new homes coming in there. Are we reaching out to them because we want students? Do they know us? Do we know them? Do we show them that we like to have them? So I reached out to her yesterday. I said, that's a suggestion for me. It's your business and not mine. But when I see 70 new ones and see how fast, if you go out there and see how fast they put up a house, they put in a foundation in 35 minutes. I mean, these guys, it's a machine when they move on to a job site and how fast they come through it. So that's coming together really quick. Home-wise though, Spina and Hammock are working in Indian Creek Village. They're selling those the minute they're even close to done. People are buying those up. So no matter what they talk about, the interest rate is, there's a demand, and that's what it's all about. You know, some of them sold, you have to remember, 17% interest rates, and you're still selling houses. When there's a demand, houses sell. So that's what you figure out a way to get into that and get it done. So that's where we're done with all of that right now. So yeah, I just see great progress on all factors of the city. The next big project we're going to undertake, Megan's helping me with the publication of a public notice, and we're going to start on the wastewater treatment plant. Your biggest asset in the city is our wastewater treatment plant. It's roughly a third of our total asset base. And we have done a capital proposal and did that through WC Engineering if things needed done to bring us ahead. And let me say, current maintenance-wise ahead, we're only at 50% capacity for that plant. That's a really good plant when it was built, and we're still at 50%. We continue to do the sewer lining, and that's for just that purpose, because lining of sewers protects against infiltration that comes into the system that you process through a plant that you shouldn't be processing. It's supposed to go to the river. So we have several items on there. We have what's called a UV system, and that's ultraviolet light. Water flows through the ultraviolet light channel, and it's kind of magic. The photons, part of the light particle is the photons destroy the DNA of the microbes that go by it. And that by destroying the DNA, it makes it unable to reproduce. So it's like I say, it's kind of a backwards way of doing it. You don't kill it, but you destroy their DNA so they can't reproduce at that point. So we have to upgrade that. Our system is failing right now. You have to operate it from April to October each year. During the winter times, you don't have to operate it, so we'll have a window coming up this late fall in order to replace our UV system and do that. So we're in the process of bidding that right now, and then there's several other maintenance items we need to do. So that's the biggest thing that's coming up on our budget right now. I saw a capital expenditure proposal from HWC was $11 million something dollars, and we said, we can do lots of that ourselves. So what we're doing right now is the demolition part. We had demolition listed in there $4 million, and I'm expecting to do demolition for less than $500,000. So we just think we can do things on our own without having to go outside to get things back. We'll reach out to a couple local contractors, and that certainly makes a difference. But these are the old primary tank walls that were built in the 1950s, and they're 18 inches thick, so they're not going to be inexpensive to tear out. So I know where the engineering estimate came from for $4.5 million, but we can get it out for a lot less money than that by doing it ourselves. So that's the next big project we see coming down the road. Theater rides will turn over. We have a firm reservation from Craig Fenneman himself for the 4th Thursday in September. So we've got about 5 weeks now between now and then to get everything up and running and run a soft test on it. So that's where we're at. So you see the marquee lights are on now. You read the messages we put out. So everything seems to be going well on that behalf. We're really almost ready to break furniture in the next 2 weeks. We'll start moving stuff in. So but I'm glad to take you over there. You'll love it when you see it. It's Art Deco. We had an interior decorator. She was really good, and I think you'll like it.
Thank you, Gary. Anybody have any questions about anything that Gary went over?
Looking forward, or I guess to follow up from something we talked about a while back, and I don't know if Luke knows anything about this. I heard Eric Bolin, the superintendent, the other day talk about the new elementary school that they're building out on Centennial Road and so forth, and I know that they're wanting to do some road improvements and such out that way. At one point, I thought that we had talked about extending infrastructure up that direction as well, up the interstate. Is that anything that the city is doing, or that the city wants the RDC to look at?
2 years ago, you guys put water underneath I-69, north of 252, between 252 and 44.
Right.
Well, you can, if you drive down the road, you see the cell tower over on the east side. You look right there, you'll see a fire hydrant. So that's where we're terminated right now. We have a contract with United Engineering to do the design from there over to the property that's listed on an elevate as Sun Energy. Really, that's John Fuel. John Fuel's building 7. 4-Star is a developer that did Hannah Farms, and 4-Star is looking at acquiring that property from John now. Just last week, they were on that property doing their core drilling test. I've already seen a lot layout for what they intend to do in there. So we're doing the design to take it across there. I have $1.5 million from the county that gave us. We work well with them now. So we have $1.5 million from the county to do the engineering side of it, which is a couple $100,000, and actually to put the lines, like the water and sewer line, over to that property. So we'll just go to the edge of that. And back when we did the water across 2 years ago, I got an easement from Faith Church to go along their south boundary, so we're already set to go across if we want to do that. So that's a lot like the development. You were asking about the school's intentions up through there.
That's a lot farther north.
The county's thoroughfare plan was to develop Teeter's Road that would connect off of Morgan Street as it comes north out of town, and that has not been approved. Their thoroughfare plan also included the development of Centennial, which will front the new piece of property up there, and that needs some improvement. It's pretty windy and turny and that kind of stuff, so that's going to happen. My understanding, and I don't know that anything's been approved yet, anyway, the school paid a fortune for that piece of property, and $90,000 an acre, but there's apparently a backstory to that of how the water and sewer comes from Mapleturn Utilities. I used to be on Mapleturn Utilities board that serves both the Foxcliff subdivisions, and they have the capacity to accept what the school would provide, and there's the deal to put a water and sewer line in, excuse me, a sewer line in, not a water line, just a sewer line that connects from the new school over to Maple Turn Utilities.
So that's not
And
gonna,
that-
so basically the school's not gonna ask the city to take care of it, so really we don't need to worry about it.
We're not involved. We recognize the value of that. That sewer line goes across there. You're really close to the Henderson Ford interchange. Henderson Ford interchange begs for development, so.
Yeah. Thanks, Gary.
Any other questions for Gary? All right. Well, we don't have any unfinished or new business on the agenda, so unless somebody has something else they'd like to discuss.
I have a question. We approved ordering the traffic study for South Ohio Street. Is that underway?
South Ohio Street.
South Ohio Street.
Yeah, at the interchange, I assume you're talking about. The developer that was involved in that, Cushman Wakefield, had the options on 11 homes down through there. So they're dropping those as they expire. They just don't have any anticipation of how fast we're going to respond. The next step in the process, though, will be NDOT's approval of a four-light intersection. Ohio Street and Route 3C now has the lights that do 3 sides of that. We need to get the 4 sides of that, and then they have to do a traffic study, like always. And I should have mentioned Sun Energy, John Field's property. They've already done that traffic study up there, so they're coming forward. So that you know and you can help. On the Sun Energy and John Field's property, it's not in the city yet, since it borders Faith Church. It's contiguous, we can bring it in, that's the purpose of that. That property has 2 parcels that front 252. Both of those on 252 are not in a good location. Joe lives out there, it's dangerous. It's the hill and the curve both, and I have encouraged them that, and that's what they've laid out to do. I've said, I don't think you'll get it through our plan commission. I think our people will say no to that. You need to go north to out the east boundary of Faith Church and get on 44. 44, you have good sight lines both directions, and it makes a lot more sense and be much safer to go in and out. But so, I don't know how, as far as I know, they still plan on ultimately coming to the plan commission with an ask for 252, but I just think my plan commission is probably going to go, nah, that's not a smart thing to do. Not a smart thing to do. If they're smart though, what they'll do, they'll go to because I've got another one already doing this, Collier property on the edge of Legendary Hills down there. They bought, and he's got a piece, he had 5 or 6 houses in there, and he's smart enough to talk about it. And that's sort of encouraging. So if he goes to the county and through their plan commission, he can get it approved. Then he can come to us to come into the city at that point. And our plan commission doesn't have any say on it at that point. So that's exactly what Four-Star could do up there, is go in the back door to the county plan commission and then come back to us. So.
Do you know when that traffic study is going to be done on Ohio Street, Gary? I think that's what Phil wanted to know
I
too.
don't have a date on it, since they were just in there doing their soils testing last week. Why, I'm assuming it'll be late fall.
Late fall.
They'll enter an engineering report and all that kind of stuff.
I'm not clear on the traffic study answer. I was informed by one of the developers that once we have the traffic study completed, depending on the report, they're interested in pursuing their project.
They're not willing to pay for a traffic study.
Pardon?
They're not having offered to pay for a traffic study, the developer has not, nor have we offered to pay for it, either one.
Right.
We own the lots down there that we acquired from the state, so we should develop it. It's just a matter of moving forward. The traffic study is the first step in going to the state on approving. You should know that it's really on the borderline. They basically control from the interstate 600 feet. And that Earth-Receipt road right there is on the 600 feet mark. So about half of the parcel that we acquired from them is north of the end of their there 600 feet, and half of the parcel is south of it, and the parcel's only 70 feet wide or something like that, so we're just that close, but still, that's their rules, and we'll have to follow NDOT's rules.
So is there some dispute over who will pay for this traffic study, or?
Yes, if we were to pay for we've paid for one traffic study, and we've forced other developers to pay for their own. Like the one that we were talking about, Sun Energy for John Fuel, we said you gotta pay for your own. We tried to force the developer to pay for a traffic study there. If it's your opinion that it's worth ours, because we own property down there, to do a traffic study, happy to do it. It probably costs, it'd be a heavy traffic study there, but it'd just be one. It wouldn't cost any more than $20,000. I think the one we paid for in Grand Valley was $16,000, but that would be up to you guys if you think that's the right thing to do.
So are we proceeding with ordering a traffic study or not?
We are not unless you want to pay for it. It would be your development that would pay for it. It'd be this.
I thought we agreed that the RDC would front this to get it started.
I don't recall that, so I had not moved forward on it. If you had, I missed that. I'm happy to do that.
I know it was discussed last month, Phil. I think it was left that maybe we should think about if we want to do that or not, if it would be a good idea to be brought back up and maybe discussed today. So I don't know that there was a formal approved motion to pay for that traffic study. I think it was just discussed as to whether or not it would be a good idea to do that. I think Gary was hoping that we would, and I believe that Rich was
I think Phil's right. It's a
was
good
not
idea.
sure, so. I don't know, Rich, are you still there? Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, we had discussed it, but we did not vote on anything stating that we would pay for it, because there was some discussion that if a developer came in, he'd probably pay for it himself. So we kind of just tabled it until we get all the options and so forth that fall away, and decide at that time what we were going to do.
It's possible we could see what it would cost and put it on next month's agenda, and then decide then if we want to pay for it, or see if we want to maybe split the cost with the developer.
Okay, I know we discussed it 2 meetings ago, and then last week at our meeting last month, I specifically made the motion that we proceed based on information that Gary had given us. The cost would be $18,000 to $20,000 approximately. And so maybe I'm under the wrong assumption, but that was.
I'm just going off my memory as well, Phil, so you may very well be right on the money there, so.
Yeah.
I remember that we had discussed it, but I'll certainly defer, or if we need Al with better notes to be back next time, because the minutes don't really reflect one way or the other. It's
Well,
just
the minutes just reflect a discussion, not a motion to approve it.
Yeah, we did not approve anything.
Gotcha. Do we know is it just one developer that owns property over there as well as the city? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Is that something we should discuss with them about splitting the cost, or is that something that generally that we would pay for?
Well, the cost is going to be the stoplight. That's $200,000 plus. So this is kind of just the first step to get going towards that.
Sure. And the stoplight cost would obviously fall on us, not on any developer, correct?
The developer came to us asking for a couple $1 million, and the mayor told him, well, we're not doing that. We don't have that kind of money to help you with your project. Certainly, that potential down there is outstanding. You could put a hotel on that site that's multi-story, see from the interstate, bring a lot of tax value to it. They have, and I assume they still do, a good contact with Chick-fil-A, wanted to go to that same spot down there. So there's real potential development down there at
Sure.
that point. The mayor had indicated at that point when said that we were putting a couple $1 million in the pot, he had indicated we would help you with a stoplight now.
Yeah.
So,
My one concern, Phil, is that we maybe want to talk to Ben about it a little bit. I know we've had some heavy expenses lately and have some obligations coming up in the future too. I don't know how much free capital the RDC has currently to pay for things like this. Ben's here. I don't want to put him on the spot, so I don't know if you know how tight the budget is currently going forward. But I know we have some upcoming expenses we need to make sure we have funds for.
Yeah, we're pretty tight right now.
Yeah, you're a lot tighter than what you were 6 months ago, for sure.
Yep.
A $20,000, expense for a traffic study would not be something that would be prohibitive. I mean,
Okay.
that's not gonna hurt you.
Okay.
You're not that tight yet, so I'll
Sure.
definitely let you know if you do, so.
Sure.
But yeah, I wouldn't have any concerns if you wanted to pay for that, so.
Okay, thank
have
you.
the cash still. so.
Great.
You're not gonna get a bill for 2 or 3 months anyway.
Sure.
This
Well-
thing, they do not go fast. One in Grand Valley, it took 3 months before we got the
Sure.
final report.
We don't get paid for 6 months, Gary, so that money, whether we pay it now or 3 months from now, doesn't change much, so.
How long is the traffic study good for? So if we got it now, but that development, no one bid for another 2 years or so, does the traffic study expire and we would have to do it again? Or do we believe that there are people close enough that if we get the traffic study done, that would be valid enough?
I think that would suffice because the traffic would not change. There's no other development going in that area with the exceptions of the Turkey Hill gas station is getting ready to move up the side curves. So we've already approved that in the plan commission. So that's going to happen. That's negligible traffic to that.
Do you think that's something that we should go ahead and do, or, do you have a recommendation on whether we should do that,
If you gave me a
or?
nod that we were going to do it, I'd get them started on it.
Yeah,
Contract for after that.
sure.
Yeah.
How many parcels do we have there that city owns that could be developed?
Don't quote me now, I want to say 7.
Okay,
They're all little odd things down there that nobody's mowing right now.
sure.
And as I was gonna say, is our zone's not right on hook right now. I don't see the need to spend the money right now for a study when we don't have it beat down the door for that area. I think time is on our side here.
And you purchased those properties a year ago.
Yeah.
I mean, and so that's when the mayor says no to the developer. He said, we're already doing our share. We're bringing it to the table.
Yeah. Phil, it sounds like you may have a relationship with this developer. Is it worth talking to them to see if they might split the cost with us?
I'll be happy to mention that.
Okay.
My main concern when I brought it up at first, I hate to let us see all of that lie dormant, with all the other development going on around town. I'd kind of like to see us spread out a little more.
Sure. Well, how about I try to make a note for Rich to put it on next month's agenda. If you don't mind talking to the developer to see if they might be open to splitting the cost, I think if they did something like that, that would make us more inclined to do that, so.
I think we have 2 more new properties coming in at the Peterson property. So,
Up at the top, Peterson property, we met with, Judy's that the last person? Anyway, we met with them. They have no place stormwater is a real issue now on any new properties to develop. You see us forcing retention ponds in, you can't let the water go off your land, you've got to be able to keep it there. And they don't have any solution to that. So I think she's probably told any potential buyer that there's no way they can build up there right now. So they're all welcome to do their own development and propose an idea to solve the problem, but so far nobody has a solution to that. It's up by our water tank at the top of the hill. There's 2 lots up there. There's other development up at the top of the hill too. It seems the plan commission a proposal to do an entertainment venue. There's a pond up there, and they proposed I call it more of a pergola than I would a building at this point. Anyway, an enclosure so they could hold weddings or events or something up there. So that's their issue, is you're gonna have to drain that into your own pond. You can't send it off down the hill, because if you go up Blue Bluff Road, there's 2 driveways that come down the hill, and both of them run water and mud down to Blue Bluff Road. Their grandfather did because where they are, but it shouldn't have never been that way.
but are there still plans to refurbish the
Pardon?
two buildings sitting down there now, the former Pizza Hut and the Mexican restaurant.
Those are very active, that's Vic Patel. We just finished a brownfields phase 1 on both of them. I think he's gonna get a phase 2 just because it's free. He's a smart buyer. Anyway, they're ready to do demolition on both of those, so we've turned off the gas and the water and everything else down there. So those are getting ready to happen. That's a Dunkin' Donuts and a Jimmy John's.
All right. Well, Phil, thank you for talking to the developer. We'll kind of revisit that next month.
Okay.
Appreciate you. Anything else before the commission? All right. I will call this meeting adjourned. We'll be back September 10th for our regular scheduled meeting. Thank you, everybody.
If you'd like to see the theater, we come in the north entrance, so the parking lot is back there. And you should know that, that's something else, so that we put electric charging stations back there. And right now, typically about 3 of them are full, it's about all the time, we're even motorcycles charging back there, electric motorcycles. Nice one. So we go in that north entrance.
What's the alley gonna be? That's what I wanna know. I like the parking back there.
You wanna see it?
When are you guys heading over?
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Bill was over there Monday night. Yeah.